Do you know Hradec Kralove? I do. I studied the Faculty of Medicine here. Come with me, I'll show you around. The great thing about Hradec is that you can get anywhere in 10 minutes. Well, maybe not 10 because I'm running late again. Oh, by the way, this is our dean. The career of every doctor always has to start with anatomy. Every new student looks forward to the first class. Well, it's not for everyone. Don't be scared though, some of us were able to stay on our feet. After lunch, we usually head to the educational center. We have lectures here, but to be honest, we love to go here to have a cup of coffee and chill out with our friends. And sometimes we have to study too. Studying medicine is definitely not easy, but the relaxed lectures and modern facilities help us a lot. All the books we need we get in our library, and the study materials are passed on from older students. After that, it's plain sailing. You just won't get much sleep until the Christmas break comes. Our university hospital is one of the best in the Czech Republic. That's where we get to pretend we're already doctors. And from the third year on, we're here almost every day. But pretty soon, things started getting quite interesting. Don't fool yourself. We're not saving anyone's life yet. But it's nice to feel important. Sometimes, they even let us touch the scalpel. And some of us are quite talented. We still have a lot to learn if we don't want to be replaced by robots. It's crucial to be able to switch off and take a break from the studies. If I want to be alone in nature, I don't have to travel anywhere. We even have time for fun, sports, or even other activities. There's always something happening. Concerts, balls, theater plays, there's culture all around. There aren't many people in our group. Maybe that's what makes it special. At the end of the day, medicine has always been about teamwork, and that's how we treat the school as well.
Morning, hello. Hello to our students who are here with us in person, and also to everyone watching us live on YouTube now. We're sending hi from Charles University, Faculty of Medicine in Hradec Kralove. My name is Pavla, and I will be guiding you through this introduction session. And along with me, here is the Vice Dean for our study programs in English, Professor Rudolf. Then we have a few students, so we are able to answer all of your questions and cover all the topics possible that are related to the study at our faculty. So first, Mehrab, hi. Then Alvin, Vatsal, and Gaith. Morning, thank you. And we have a special surprise for you because one of our graduates has promised to join us for a little bit in between lectures, as he's a PhD student as well and currently works in our university hospital. So he might pop in throughout our presentation just to say hi and share a few insights from the perspective of a graduate. What do we have on the agenda, right? We have done the introduction of ourselves, but we will also tell you a little bit more about our university. What are the main benefits and main features of Charles University and why you should pick exactly this university for your future studies. Then we will introduce our faculty, what we are about, what study programs you can study here, and what the admission is like. Also, a little bit about the organization of study and what the future might hold in for you if you decide to come and join us. Then we will have time for your questions. So throughout the presentation at the beginning, you can already be thinking about the stuff that we might have not mentioned. So you can ask in the end. We will also be following the questions below the video on YouTube. So everyone who is with us online, feel free to just use the chat and ask whatever comes to mind. And now it's time for me to pass the word to Professor to do the introduction of the university and the faculty. Thank you.
Thank you, Paula, and a very warm welcome to all of you on behalf of our Faculty of Medicine, Charles University. As I said, my name is Emil Rudolf, and I have the the privilege to be here and as a teacher, but also as administrator. Tell a little bit about us and just why it might be a nice idea and a very, very important idea for you just to join our program and just to study with us in order to graduate and follow your dream, that is to become a medical professional or doctor. So let us start our little party with a bit of presentation. Well, as we said, our faculty is a part of Charles. Usually when we talk about the Charles and the people outside Europe, they believe that it belongs to the UK. No, it does not. It just it bears the name of our founder, or the founder of this university, our beloved King Charles IV. So it is quite old university. It's one of the biggest in the Czech Republic, if not outright the biggest. It features quite a lot of students, as you can read in here, and it has one very speciality, which is normally not seen throughout the world in the universities, and that is it has the 5 faculties of medicine, which might be perhaps confusing, but you may think about them as sort of like 5 different campuses and things, and we are one of them. Incidentally, we're not in the Prague, where is the capital, or which is the place where there's a center of the university, but we're just a bit off. So in Hradec Kralove. Now, talking about our own faculty of medicine, we have 2 major goals or roles. So first of all, to educate. That's the role number 1. Just to educate students, educate people in order just to produce a really good and very learned professionals. But also, our second role is to carry out the research, because the education at the Faculty of Medicine would not be possible without research. Research is fun. Research is something the adults like to engage themselves in order to learn more about the world. And while just playing, learning, they could also share their experience with the new generations. And that makes the circle full. So the teaching without research is impossible, the same way as the research without teaching. So these are our 2 main missions. We've been founded back in the 50s of the last century. At the moment, we feature a certain number of students. Out of the total number, we have about 300 plus international students and students studying in English programs, which might not seem really large numbers, but we'd like to keep it that way, because that makes us happy, and also that makes our little family here more compact. Of course, the Faculty of Medicine would not be possible without the practical training, and that is why we have affiliated University Hospital, which is the largest employer in the entire district, in entire part of the Eastern Bohemia where we are right now. So that is reflected by the number of the doctors, professionals employed, number of in and out patients, and also the level of the services which are being provided. Now, at any point of such a promotion or presentation comes the crucial question, and why should I think about this faculty or that faculty, this service or that service? So here is what we believe might be some of the top reasons why the one who considers studying medicine would consider our place. The number 1, of course, is the quality of education, which is relatively rigorous, because actually it's very important that those who graduate from us are just adequate professionals and they don't have gaps in their knowledge and their skills, because otherwise it's going to be very tough and dangerous for the patients and whoever it would be involved with them. So we boast high levels of the or high quality of the education. The way that we are carrying out these programs for past 30, or we've been carrying out these programs for past 30 years, so we could claim that we've got some experience, also got the special international recognition. You are right now, at least those of you who are sitting here physically, you're in one of the lecture halls in so-called the traditional building of theoretical departments. Once in the second part of today, you will have the chance to have the hands-on experience on certain practicalities in particular departments. You will see that, of course, the building and the laboratories and whatever equipment are just well maintained. It's modern, and we all employ modern teaching methods. Of course, the major emphasis in studying medicine is not a theory, but this kind of practice. So that's why, of course, we have this university hospital affiliated, and you will see also SIM Center, where students would be incentivized and forced to have the practicals and just to have as much practical experience as possible, which is, I guess, important for the future of the career. Other reasons we might mention is availability of the study materials, and many of them in electronic form via the either library or via the either departmental services. Research opportunities for students, because the students should not only sit, listen, and study, but also they do something actively on their own. At least of all, one of the reasons for that would be that their future jobs also would depend on their extracurricular activities. Here we could offer the Mayo Clinic, Rochester clinical stay, or the practical stay for the selected students who have the best study results and who also involve themselves in the research. And the rest is what we all expect of life. That is, to study in a place which is nice, friendly, which is welcoming you, which will accommodate your different needs. Plus, of course, that you're studying, or you will be studying in a relatively small community. Therefore, we could pick you up one by one and just address your individual needs. So we could follow you individually. It's just our students will agree with me that, of course, when I'm teaching, I'm not having the mass of students, and I know everyone is student for good or for bad, because, of course, there is nowhere to hide here. So that is just one side of the story. Of course, I mean it in a positive way. So that translates to the intensive training, of course, if the student wants. So that is just some of the reasons. You will see some other reasons which will come back across throughout my presentation. So what we offer two study programs. Actually, the one study program at the moment, the admission procedure is ongoing. That is the general medicine full master program on 6 years. After 6 years graduation with the title MD, or with the Czech equivalent of MD, fully recognized in the world, authorizing an individual to enter the postgraduate training in most of the places in the world. The intake rate is about 105 students in the first year. We try to keep it that way, not to really enlarge the numbers, in order just to make the training intensive and the family small. For this upcoming academic year, you will also see the tuition fees, which translate to less than 15,000 euros, which is also a relatively interesting offer, especially if one compares it along or across the other faculties of medicine on the same standing or the grade. Not for the upcoming year 23-24, but we're planning to launch the dentistry study program, which will have a slightly different programming. That is from 24-25, have only 5 years duration. Those who graduate would be DMD, or actually MDDR. The program is slightly more expensive because the program is entirely differently oriented, and it offers one good advantage. And that is that after the graduation, theoretically, graduate could enter the practice right away without any further formal needs to have the postgraduate training. That's the theory, though, because most of our graduates still choose to stay with the system and train a bit more before they open up their own office. So this is what it will happen the next year, but we need to inform you about that even now. Now, the most of the candidates are very worried once they hear about the admission procedure, especially if they come across the term the test. That is the same with us. So we have admission procedure, which is broken down to 2 steps. That is, the first one is written, is MCQ test, the 60 questions. We'll just elaborate on them a bit more. Plus, there will be then a little oral interview. Which would mean, literally speaking, that 2 questions, which are not meant about the factual knowledge, but about the certain student skills, personalities, and things. The results are communicated quite fairly, usually within a couple of days following the exam. The official exam for the Faculty of Medicine in HK this year will be like a May 4th, 23, while the deadline for the application forums would be the end of April, or the last day of April, April 30th. Who is eligible? All who completed the secondary school and they wish to undergo the entry test and the interview, and they show some passable knowledge. The test is made of biology, chemistry, physics, or mathematics up in the choice, so either physics or mathematics. And there is no negative marking. All questions are straightforward. One answer is only possible. Plus then, as I said, the oral interview, which is not meant to test your knowledge or test the knowledge of the candidate, but it's meant to investigate a bit about the standpoints, the opinions, and personality of the student, because of course nobody would want to have a student with a serious psychological problems, or with someone who is not mature enough to face a bit of the challenges in the first year. So that's why these questions are that easy, and it's sort of like a little monologue and the dialogue. Something the students might be scared of, but please do not, because it's pretty easy and friendly thing. Once the students accept our offer, they start studying our school. Means that they are subject to certain schedules. Schedules usually are based on the academic year, which has a certain beginning, usually at the beginning of October, and then next year, end of the September. The two semesters, winter and summer, which are interspersed by the examination period. There's something I told you at the very beginning is right now almost at the end. So about the 3 weeks off, the students are given the chance to sit their exams. During the semester, students attend the lectures, they go to practical classes, they have the seminars, but also they have an increasing portion of self-studies through the e-courses and things, which they like best. I should think so, because of course that is just a modern trend in the education. Once every while, students have to pass the exams, which are either progress or the final in different forums. Some of them are written, some of them are oral. So therefore, the reason they study in English means that they have to have a good command of English, because they have to be able to express themselves and to explain things to make the teachers or professors satisfied. The rest, as I said, is whatever you come to expect to stay in a place like this. Availability of the food, availability of the accommodation, availability of fun, and especially availability of the student support. So what do we do in order for our students to feel happy or to feel comfortable? We give them all info they ask for. We give them even more the info they haven't been asking for. We give them regular sessions where we try to keep them updated. We also have for them counseling services, which are important in case that they feel kind of lonely, they feel stressed, or they simply need support. We have for them also we offer them also the membership in several student bodies or interest groups. We're trying to promote their contacts with those studying in Czech language, because after all, if you study 6 years in a country which is not of your origin, then you might want to learn a bit more about the local culture and the things. Plus, of course, we give them the support as far as the teams and things are done. In order to help us, we have the also student ambassadors. So these are people of the higher grades who agreed to be our envoys, and who helped us with those who ask the questions, so they are available to give their direct testimonials and help those who seek the advice whether to enter our courses or not, just to give them a full info in order just to help the decision making for those cases. So these are just available. I should think at 24 hours 7, and should be able to give them more inside information than we teachers, for instance. Well, and that's the end story. The story ends usually with a graduation ceremony, which happens in the Prague once a year at the end of July, where the students got the diplomas. They're quite happy, and they start realizing that the easy part of their medical career just ended, and it comes much more important part of the medical career, that is just the training and the real life. They become part of our alumni, and there they could find again support. They could just to support our faculty in order just to follow our tradition. The times are changing, so if I stood here years ago, I would have ended up now. I have to say that we are all online. We have all those important electronic sort of activities you will come to expect. So you could find us on the following social networks. On TikTok later, we regularly produce the podcasts, which feature interesting interviews with some of us and with some topics. And then it's now time for me to thank you very much for your attention, and to express my wish that you will have a right decision making, and I'll keep my fingers crossed for your future decision. Thank you once more again, and I'll be happy to answer whatever questions you might have.
Thank you, Professor. So this was the brief introduction where we hope to give you most asked topics, the most important information about our faculty, about our university and the studies that we offer. And now we will be moving on to the questions and answers session. Before you warm up properly and you are ready to ask your questions, we will do a brief introduction of our students, just so you know who are you able to ask your questions. So Mehrab, if you could start, please.
Hi guys, my name is Mehrab. I'm in fourth year. I'm from Bangladesh, and yeah, that's it.
Hello, I'm Alvin. I'm from fourth year as well. I'm one of his best friends, and yeah, if you guys are planning to join the university, you guys will be seeing a lot more of us, and it'll be fun if you guys do join in.
Hello, good morning everyone. My name is Vatsal and I'm from India, and I'm also their friend.
Good morning everyone. I'm Ghaith. I'm from Syria. I'm a first year. And last year I was in your place. I used to study in Poti Brady, and my teachers were Miss Yitka and Miss Marika. So I think I would be able, hopefully, to answer most of your questions.
Thank you for that. So do you guys have already any questions right now? Okay, let's start at the beginning from your experience. Or is there something that you would like to add right now from the top of your head before I start asking?
How many of y'all are like certain on at least joining a medical university? Yeah, because you have to be certain that you're going to join one and like not be sort of uncertain about it, because if you join in and then you realize this ain't it for you, it's going to be pretty hard to get out. So I would suggest that that would be one of the most important decisions you guys are making this semester at least.
Do you think it's hard to get out?
I mean, there's a lot of pressure from your parents, from yourself, from your colleagues.
It's a very good point. You're right. It's a very good point. It's not very hard to get out, but there's a lot of pressure. And once you make that decision, you'll probably want to make it through. So
yeah, I mean, there's another way to get out, which is to do nothing throughout the year, and you'll just be out of here as quick as possible. So yeah,
Thank you. That's a great insight. But actually, as I promised, our graduate is here. Dr. Shaheen, welcome. Hi. Come here. We'll pass the microphone to you. If you could just say hi and introduce yourself for a little bit, because I have already made the introductions in the beginning that you're our graduate working in the university hospital, PhD student as well. Quite a lot going on there. Happy to have you here. Hi.
Thank you very much. All right. Hello, guys. So already Pavla has introduced me, but I'm just going to reassure that information one more time quickly. I'm Yusuf Shaheen. I'm a second-year cardiothoracic surgery resident in the faculty hospital. I'm also a second-year PhD student. I know it sounds pretty fancy, but it's not as fancy as it sounds. I started here about 7.5 years ago as a first-year medical student, and I remember sitting in this exact lecture hall. It was orientation week, and it was a room full of over maybe 100 or 120 people. And you look around you, and there's people from every corner of the world. So it was quite intimidating, of course, and you're scared and you don't know what to expect. You have people with different backgrounds, different information from high school. We all had different education, so it can be quite challenging, to get accommodated to that environment. And you kind of, in the beginning, you can sometimes question yourself whether or not you can do it, whether or not you can go through this challenge. And over the years, the answer was always yes. If you put enough work and effort, you can definitely get through it. And of course, you have your colleagues, you have your professors to depend on whenever you need help. And that is definitely a key player in your progress during the university. So I would say, I would probably discuss with you, I would just give you a quick insight on what first year looked like for me, because I think that's the most exciting part for you guys. So first year definitely was quite challenging, and it's not just because the subjects are difficult, it's also because it's a different gameplay for you. You never had to put in the commitment and study as much as you have to in first year. You're expected to study, 5 to 7 hours a day, 5 days a week at least. And not just talking about Hradec Kralove, everywhere in the world, if you're going to study medicine, you have to expect that kind of commitment. But it's quite easy, and if you surround yourself with your colleagues, if you discuss things with your colleagues, if you talk to your professors, all of these things become natural, and you don't feel like you are obliged to put these hours in. It's more of a process that you have to get through to finally reach where you want to be. So it becomes easier with time, for sure. And I cannot stress enough how much you should rely on communication with your friends and colleagues, because you live here with these people for 6 years at least, and it becomes slowly your family. So you have to rely on them. They will be coming to you when they need help, and you should do the same. It really helps a lot during your university journey, and that's quite important. I just want to mention one more thing regarding the Mayo Clinic partnership. A lot of people who come here, they've heard of it, and some didn't hear about it at all. So I just want to say that the Mayo Clinic internship is an amazing opportunity that our university, our faculty provides. We have a partnership with one of the leading doctors over there, Dr. Temesgen, and he has been doing this for years and years, taking students every year from our faculty, taking them to Mayo Clinic, which is the #1 research hospital in the US, arguably in the world. And it's an amazing opportunity. So you should definitely, if you're interested in such a thing, keep it in mind, work for it. There will be a kind of a competition where you have to apply for it, and then they choose the ones they think are the most eligible to go through with the process. And it's never too late to start working for it, because everything that you do from first year till whenever you apply for Mayo Clinic counts. So definitely put that in mind and try to give it as much effort as you can if you are interested in doing that internship. Yeah, and I think just for the following few months of your life, consistency is going to be your friend. Consistency is key. You have to know when do you have your tests, when do you have your exams, and just put a plot until for yourself to that time. Know how much time you have for the exam, and know how much time do you need for the exam. people are going to have different plans, and that is completely okay. I know that as medical students, it is quite irresistible to compare yourself to your colleagues, and that is completely fine. Just whenever you feel like you are doing things differently, it doesn't necessarily mean you're doing it in a wrong way. So you also have to kind of find that balance and go through with it. It will be stressful, but it's also going to be very fun. You'll have your fair share of fun. We had a lot of fun in our first year, all of us, I think. We have a lot of events, sporting events, trips. So you're going to enjoy your time, but you have to keep in mind that your priority here is to put the effort, put the work in to, have a smooth and easy year. Well, easy is a bit of an overstatement, but at least a smooth year. So, but again, everything with work and consistency becomes much, much easier. So just make sure that you have a schedule in your mind and abide to it. And I think I covered the points that I think you would be interested in. If you have any questions, of course, you can ask me. So I think also Pavla can have a word.
Thank you. For me, you summed it up all perfectly. But didn't you agree? That was amazing. You said it all. Everything that they should hear at this point, they should know, and that should help them throughout the beginning. Thank you. Amazing. And you said that it's not as fancy as it sounds, but he already published. You can find his articles online. Go and Google him. He's really good. It is fancy, and we are proud of you. Thank you. Any questions? Yes. Okay.
Well, the problem-based medicine, as it is been taught in the different faculties of medicine, arguably like a Prague 3. It offers the problem-based course. The curriculum in the course of this faculty, although it builds the problems in, is still working along the traditional curriculum, so you go by the subjects. But each subject, of course, would need to persuade you that it makes sense in terms of its practicality, in terms of why you actually need to study this subject. Obviously, in some subjects we know it, like if you're going to study internal medicine, so you know that you study for the internal problems. But say if you would have the, histology, so that you might at the beginning wonder, why should I study histology, until you learn that the basic understanding of the structure of the tissue is for you important to understand the things which might happen in this tissue in the wrong way, so you would just link it with the pathology and other things. So once more again, the curriculum is not problem-based as the scheme, but still it just includes the problems inbuilt, and you will find it in the form of like a case report analysis and the other things which are being part of the course, if that is what you sought for.
Yusuf, would you like to add anything from the point of a graduate to this kind of a question?
Professor Rudolph really summarized everything perfectly, but yeah, again, each subject has its different kind of approach to the subject. Some subjects don't necessarily rely on practical experience because there's not much practicals that you need to do to understand the subject. It's mostly theoretical, and some subjects like internal medicine, of course, is completely reliant on practice. So each subject is going to have a different approach, definitely.
Thank you. If you would have any questions that would be particularly for Yusuf, because we cannot keep him for too long. He needs to get back to his lecture. Yes?
Yes. I'm Yapo from India. I need to ask Charles University have a fine faculty of medicine. How I can recommend the students from our country, so who have need to choose one in Hradec Kralove, faculty of medicine in Hradec Kralove.
How to choose the faculty?
So I cannot, of course, vouch for any other faculty since I haven't had any personal experience with them. But what I've realized from what people spoke about their own faculties is that over here it is a much more, let's say, condensed community. Like it's quite a small group of people in a small city, so it's much easier for you to do a lot of things, go to classes, communicate with your professors, communicate with your colleagues. And these things really help help you progress through the years. Regarding the educational system, I think is quite similar between all the faculties. We all have the same modules that we have to cover. So in terms of the information that you will receive, it's quite similar over here and in other faculties around the Czech Republic. It's just it's just a matter of how to divide these subjects. So in Hradec Kralove, for example, you'll do anatomy and histology in first year. In other faculties, they do, let's say, half of anatomy and histology along with physiology and biochemistry. But in the end of the day, you finish all these subjects by the second year. So it's quite similar in terms of education, but it's just I think Hradec Kralove was the perfect option for me because I would rather have a accessible environment than be in a much bigger space. So, but of course, I'm sure you're going to be going around other universities, other faculties, and you can end up choosing whatever one works best for you. So.
Perhaps I would add a few more words because that's the most common question we're facing anytime we're trying to promote us. Ultimately, the faculties of medicine in Czech Republic will offer the comparable outcome. That is, the students graduate with the diploma, which is the same recognition value. You cannot claim that one faculty gives you something extra the other faculties would not offer to you in terms of your knowledge, your skills, the recognition things. So sometimes it's reduced to what place you actually you personally prefer, as Shaheen here said. So it might be the size of the place. It might be also the feeling of the place. That's why, of course, the very important part is just that those who would want to study with us come here, if possible, in person, just to feel it, because that's ultimately the most important thing. You need to synchronize with the place, with the people. You need to follow it. Otherwise, it will be just another travel agency, because she will show the nice brochures. They will tell you, okay, we are very prestigious, ranking things. But these ultimately might not matter if you do not really follow the ranking as such and your machine. We're all human beings, and as such, we need to go by other things. Emotions, that is part of it. It hasn't been stated here, but the study without emotions is not a successful study. You need to put yourself forth in efforts, and you need to feel it. Yes. So that will be like, it's hard to say. I mean, of course, it's just not that the HK will give you something nobody else will give you. It's about the combination of small things, which will ultimately tell you, oh, that's the right place. I'm going to spend part of my life. Or it's not right place, but it is highly prestigious, and you have to choose yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. We will follow up still with our students, but I would like to thank you so very much for stopping by.
Good luck, guys, with everything. And thank you so much for having me. Have a good one.
Thank you. Have a great day. So if you decide to join, you will definitely see Yusuf around as well, because he decided to stay with us and practice in the hospital. Should we continue with this question? How to choose the faculty, or how is the experience for you? Just to give them a little bit more from your point of view. Get into it.
Yeah, personally for me, I didn't really think about which faculty to choose because I only had one choice, which was this one, and makes it easier. But if I were to put it in my words, the more distant you are away from people, right? In the sense, this is a very condensed city, so everybody's like right beside you. The more alone you feel, the more left out you feel. If you have to travel like 30 minutes by bus just to meet your friends, you will become more and more lazy as the years go on. And in the end, you might even end up being lonely. Just a personal point of view. But here, my friend, he lives like, 2 minutes away from me. Both of us, we literally wake each other up for class. That wouldn't probably be possible in a place that's too big for you to do anything over there. And especially because I've heard that in Prague, the buildings are quite far away from each other. Whereas here you have like the first year, most of the subjects are going to be held here, which makes things a lot more easier to handle rather than traveling around Prague and wasting your time and stuff, like studying and all that stuff. Right?
I would agree. That's what we try to explain quite often. It might be hard for you to imagine, depending, but you come to see us from Poděbrady today, but anyone who is listening to us online, depending on what kind of a city you are living in right now, for us, it's our day routine that we can get anywhere within 15 minutes on foot, which is, I wouldn't give that up for anything. It's great, it's very convenient, and it saves you a lot of time and stress, I would say.
I should add one more thing from the teacher's point of view. If the student wakes up late and is late for class, it's a great stress. So then the fact that he knows that he doesn't live far away from the class helps a lot. So it's one practical comment. Because I myself not work here, but I work in the campus. It was also shown there, which is this 15-20 minutes by foot. So sometimes something happens and students do not know that our class is my subject. They start at this campus and they come here and now they're stressed. So they could just cover the distance rather quickly and still not lose the chance to enter the classroom. But to be in another place where you would need to take a bus or subway and you would say by the time that you reach the class, they'll be useless. So that's one thing I personally like pretty much. And I do like large places, but as a tourist, but not as the place where I would stay. I like Prague, but I just spent there about half a year as an army conscript. And it always surprised me that in order just to pass from one point to another, I had to plan at least 1 hour, which was killing for me, because I feel like really at home here in a small place. Thank you.
Thank you for that. All right. Yeah, pass on the mic.
Yeah, so for me, HK is like very less crowded, and there are less chances of distraction, because if you are in Prague, then there are like a lot of tourists there, and if you want to go there, it's fine if you like that, but I personally prefer, like for study, you need certain kind of ambience, which is present here. Also, we have nice green parks. You can go biking. There are towns around, so you don't feel that there's nothing to see here. If you want to go on somewhere on your off days, then we have the library, so you can study there. So like there's a lot of chances to like study and chill and everything. Yeah.
Thank you for adding that, because it's not like you would be stranded in the middle of nowhere, right? There is still plenty going on. It's just, as you said, it's the right ambient. It's a good amount.
Okay, good morning, everyone, again. So addressing the fact, why should we pick HK? I'm here in HK, my brother lives in Prague, and based on the stories that I have heard from him and the complaints that he has to wake 2 hours before his class because he has to take a 40 minutes metro till he reaches his university. Plus, in Prague, you're going to waste a lot of time traveling, at least 2 hours a day just going and coming back, unless you live right next to the university, which could also be costly. Depends on the place where the university is. Over there, they have buildings, so you're going to have anatomy in a building and then another subject in another building, so that's also time taken to go from one place to another. While over here in HK, everything is in this building, or it's in the educational center, or the faculty hospital. Again, as Alwin said, and Vatsal, that our friends live very close by, so it's a maximum 7 minutes walk to my farthest friend, actually. I live 6 minutes away from university, so I need to leave my house 7:40 instead of leaving 7 o'clock in the morning. So especially in first year, you don't really have that much time to waste, you know, so this could really play to your benefit. And I would actually recommend HK over anything, so yeah.
Thank you for that. Lovely. So we mentioned that this is a nice place. Does Mehrab want to add something to like picking the faculty? Any other reasons?
Yeah, actually, I'm just adding to what my colleagues said and Professor Rudolph. This is like the first time I've come to a country all by myself and continuing to live without anyone being there for me, apart from my friends, of course, which I'm very thankful for. So I have horrible time scheduling. I will wake up at, say, 7:50 for an 8 a.m. class. So I have about like 3 minutes to run and make it to this university. I live next to Alvin, so he knows this. So, you know, if you have these type of issues, it's actually very handy if you can just like start to exercise more, and it will help you in the long run, of course. And yeah, just ease of access is a really, really handy thing, because I actually have friends as well in Prague, in LF1, and they have the same complaints as Gates' brother, actually, because it doesn't really matter how close they live, they have to take a tram or a metro, and it's always a hassle, so yeah.
Thank you for that. I'm glad that we have also some comparison. And since we touched on the topic, could you guys add also what you do with your free time, if you have any? Yay!
Okay, so I picked a schedule that I have to wake up in the morning and go to the gym before class. Of course, I can do this because I live in HK. So I hit the gym before I go to class. So I go to the gym at 6 o'clock, and I have an 8 a.m. And since I live in HK, I can do that. But if I lived in Prague, I wouldn't be able to do that. Okay, so that gives me around 2 to 3 extra hours during the day that I can use to study, because I woke up around 3 hours before my class. I'm gonna also speak about some stuff that I do. I go jogging, which is you have the river where you can go there. About the activities, ISU, the International Student Union, we usually do a lot of activities for the students, sports, parties, and trips every now and then. Especially for sports, we host very frequent, every weekend, I believe, football practices, and on Sundays we have volleyball. I think there's also badminton. Apart from ISU, there's also the PE classes that you get to do during the weekdays, that you get to pick the physical education. In first year, you don't really have that much extra time, but if you plan accordingly, I assure you, you will have plenty of time actually, because again, you have to be very disciplined and you have to be consistent in studying in order to get that free time, because if you're going to be all over the place, you're not going to get time to do anything, and then you're going to get burned out, and you're just going to go be crying to your friends who actually plan their time accordingly. And yeah, so the basic thing is that you need to plan your time accordingly to get the extra time. But if you're going to be all over a place, you're not going to have that extra time. So yeah.
Thank you for that. Anyone else would like to add something?
Yeah, I would say that in medicine you need balance. So you cannot be like only studying or only playing. So you have to have a balance. So we have the PE, we have several sports in there. We have badminton, basketball, football. Then ISU, as Gaid said. And then you can, as I previously mentioned, you can also like buy a bike and go around the city, or you can go to neighboring like towns also, which have like beautiful castles and stuff. There are cafes, so you can go there, chill. If you want to study, you can do that. I also sometimes go for a jog near the river. It's really nice, and you can really like freshen up. And the main thing is like you need to have a plan of studying. so that you don't miss out on fun or studies. You need to have a balance. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Batal.
Yep. Well, what I would like to say is that whichever faculty you may choose, the course is 6 years, and that's basically more than half a decade of your life. And if you're planning to just study through that half a decade of your life, you're just gonna be miserable around it, you know? Or each of us, we have different hobbies. You guys too will have different hobbies that maybe nobody else is into, but make sure like you keep them through, because that's the refueling you need to get past this course. You know, whatever makes you happy, do that in a way that you are able to study as well as actually have a life. You know, when you look behind to the years that you spend in university, you shouldn't be regretting it. You should be happy about whatever you've been through and plan your life in such a way that, you know, you can do that.
Good, thank you.
I like video games and traveling. So for the second bit, actually, Czech Republic is placed geographically in a very advantageous spot. So the places that I've been to weren't that far away, like Berlin from Prague is just about 4 hours from here. And then, you know, all these nice places are obviously exist. And it's usually 1 to 2 train rides from Prague, and from here to Prague is just 2 hours. So I think if you're in the realm of traveling around, just visiting countries with your friends, I think you will enjoy staying here.
Thank you for that.
One more comment from my own point of view. Please do not think that just the students are humans, and they, you know, with the studying and with all the pastime activities, even the teachers are humans. So we do have some pastime activities. So sometimes it strikes me, and then if I just meet one of our students on the street, that is kind of surprised that I'm just outside the class, that I'm just running my bicycle, that I do this and that. But that's also part of the story. Yeah? So we all have the time for work, studying, but also time for the fun, for the leisure. So it's a bit of also the challenge for all of us to bring more together the community of students and the teachers or the academics, in order that the students understand that we are all part of the one family, and we could also share some of the activities together. So while jogging in the forest, meeting students is a nice occasion rather than big shock and a surprise. Thank you.
Thank you. So you might have noticed, and also it resonated throughout what our students said too. At the beginning, we showed you a little video, which also has the views of the confluence of the rivers. So we're placed in a lowland. It's a very nice landscape where you can get far on a bike with basically no effort. That makes it easy for you to go and explore. And as Guy mentioned as well, there is plenty of sights to see, monuments or nature surrounding us. So you will have plenty to take advantage of in terms of finding your balance between studies and well-being, mind, taking care of yourself. Questions? Yes. Experience with what? In Poděbrady. Okay, so question for Guide about entrance exam.
Okay, so regarding the entrance exam, I live in the UAE, so I was in this issue where I had to go back because if I leave the country for more than 6 months, my visa expires. So I had an exception to do it online because of my visa situation. But I have a couple of colleagues who did it in person, and they are here with us in the faculty, not at the moment, but they got accepted here because they applied here. Study-wise, in my opinion, I think you guys really have an advantage for Czech language. So, out of the 4 teachers that taught me Czech, I would pick Miss Jitka. She's probably the best Czech teacher that I came across. Medical ethics and all the other subjects by Miss Marika are also very nice. You know, it opens your view about other things. Study-wise, biology by Professor Rudolph, because he will also teach you biology over here. So you will really have a head start more than the other students, so it's really an advantage. Again, speaking about the head start, you guys have been here for a year, so you're already adjusting to the weather, to everything, to the people, to the language, to especially that you're away from your parents. You don't live with them anymore. So by the time you get into uni, actually, you figure yourself out already. Did I clear your question, or there's still confusion? Done? Okay.
Thank you. Answered. Do we have any other questions? Yes? Why do you want to be doctors? That's a good question, actually. Or did I misunderstood? Was it a different question? Did I got it right?
Why do I want to be a doctor?
Yeah.
Me? Okay. Actually, it's very funny that my sister is a doctor. She's a resident, and my brother also studies medicine. He's a 4th year. But why did I want to be a doctor? I don't know, but since I was in KG1, I used to always walk with a first aid in my bag, and it was all plastic, and I used to act as if I'm treating my friends, and that's where it really came from. I got that as a gift for my birthday from my parents. So that's where it really started for me, actually. And till this day, I actually always carry a first aid kit in my bag. Of course, it's more advanced now. But also my great-great-grandfather in Hama, in the city I'm from in Syria, he's a doctor. He was the first doctor in my city. And he opened a clinic where he used to treat people for anything they have. If some people didn't have money, if he's a farmer and he go like, I don't have money, I would give you a loaf of bread as a baker, sorry. And then if a farmer comes and he was like, I can give you wheat or corn or everything. So it really started from there, and I'm like, I really want to continue that. So unfortunately, since I'm the youngest in my family, my siblings, my sister and my brother, they already passed me before that. But I hope, that I can get there before them. So yeah, that's why I want to be a doctor. Plus, it's really the passion of it and helping the people, and the work ethic and the workspace you get in. So this really does it for me. So that's pretty much it.
Thank you. Could we actually get this answer from everyone? I think it's very interesting to see the initial motivations. Thank you.
Yeah, so for me it was like, it started as a funny story. So once when I was 5 years, I happened to sleep on my hand, and I heard some river gushing through my ears. So then I asked my parents what sounds is that, and then they told me that it's heart beating. And from there the curiosity about human body, obviously. And then I learned about some facts, some fascinating facts of body, and then I wanted to know more about it. So then I sought out what are the ways for doing that. So obviously there is research, and then there is this, but being a doctor is more hands-on than research. So and then later I found my love for medicine. So yeah, that's my reason.
Thank you.
My answer is a bit unorthodox. It's because I wanted a job where I could take care of my family the best I could. That's it. There's nothing I loved the thing or some heartbeat I heard. Nothing as such. That's it.
That's a pretty good reason as well.
Money. So,
And we have it all. Thank you.
no, I'm joking. It's part of the reason, but I feel like I should be able to help people in a way that I see fit. Obviously, there's many different ways to help people. Like, you could just do comedy, and that could actually help someone in a really bad state. But I see medicine as a way of like just direct influence on a person's well-being. So yeah, I think that's honorable. That's it.
Thank you so much. I think that was also a great topic to conclude with, because we have used the hour that we have in our program for our initial chat, and you will definitely have a time to ask any additional questions along the way, as our students will take you around the departments. But we will conclude the live stream and this session now, and thank you so much everyone who answered the questions and contributed with your experience and insights. And thank you also for the questions. I hope this was useful for you, and you now have plenty information, and you will have some questions along the way as well. Thank you everyone who watched us online in the live stream. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact us on any social media or via email or under the video. Doesn't matter. Either way, we will find out and try to help you out. Thank you.
Do you know Hradec Kralove? I do. I studied the Faculty of Medicine here. Come with me, I'll show you around. The great thing about Hradec is that you can get anywhere in 10 minutes. Well, maybe not 10 because I'm running late again. Oh, by the way, this is our dean. The career of every doctor always has to start with anatomy. Every new student looks forward to the first